I'm seeing these trials. The only thing I can look at this as is like sort of like the Nuremberg trials after World War II. So I'm seeing some type of trials like that. As I'm pulled to Greece, and I see some of the ancient historic statues and such, and in the background, I just see what looks to me like flow. Interesting, Spirit shows me, and I believe this is a metaphor. I see a giant bear, like rawr, and I see like an eagle. So this has got to be representing the United States and Russia. And I see this eagle swoop down and use these like silver claws. And then I hear Spirit say, Moscow, they need to guard their doors. Guard the doors, especially the doors where there are events. Whether it's a church event, a music event, guard your doors. And then I'm followed by seeing a funeral. I see a casket, flowers, lots of people. I'm thinking then again that this, from going from Hillary to a funeral, that this is a funeral revolved around the Clintons. And I feel like I'm this is really interesting, almost like the Oval Office, we'll say. And I see leaders meeting with different races of space people. Interesting. I'm seeing President Trump. And I'm seeing him on a hospital gurney. Like he's being taken to a hospital. I also see revelations, like a word revelations, and then I see the towers. And I see someone like literally taking part of the tower off and breaking it open. Revelations. It's not. Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Love Shack, baby. Today we are going to peer into the future using a method referred to as scrying. If you're not familiar with scrying, I'll give you a little rundown of that in a moment. But today I'm doing things differently. I don't have my normal microphone set up. I'm using a lapel microphone because it'd be a little bit in the way and a little bit hard to work with. So hopefully this sounds good. I'm also testing it for future interviews. So we'll see. If you're not familiar with the form of divination, referred to as scrying, it was very often used or said to be used by Nostradamus. Nostradamus used a whole bunch of astrological calculations, but he also used the method of scrying, where he used a black obsidian bowl carved into a bowl filled with water. That's the most common ancient form of divination when it comes to scrying, the black bowl of water. Now, over the centuries and to the current time, now we see people that we hear crystal ball scrying, or better known now as crystal ball gazing. Except this is a Austrian lead crystal, not quartz. That's why it's completely clear. You won't find a completely clear quartz like this. Well, I mean, you can, but you'd pay thousands and thousands of dollars for it. And when you do scrying, there should be a black background. So you often see, like in the movies, where they have the big crystal ball and a big black pillow. That would be proper. Then you can also use a quartz crystal with all the little fragments and flaws in it that you can use to gaze in without the black background. I prefer, personally, the method said to be used by Nostradamus, except without the water. I have here a black obsidian scrying mirror, also called the black mirror. And the complicated, and I teach this in my scrying class, or in one of my divination courses, the key is looking beyond your reflection. Because, I mean, the black mirror was the original way that they would, see each other. Can you see my room? Can you see the reflection of the room? And that's how they did it. Back in the day, they didn't have the mirrors like we have now. They used these. And, I mean, you can clearly see your reflection, not as clear as a regular mirror, but it's looking beyond that. So today I am going to look beyond the shadow of myself and look deeper into the future and see what the spirits show me. So hop on board and let us get started. But before we do, if you're new here, you want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, and you want to vibe with our tribe, smash that subscribe, the bell and all, so that you get notifications, and hitting that thumbs up love button will help get more content like this on your feed. The algorithms will put more stuff like this on your feed, whether it's from me or other channels like this. So please do that. Please do that. Please. Also down below you'll find all the links to my social media, including the free newsletter. And a big thank you to all the supporters who make this free content possible for everybody else. So shall we peer into the future, my friends? I see this explosion in the sky. It kind of reminds me of the Nuremberg, you know, the Zeppelin that burst in the sky way back, I think late 1800s, early 1900s. Reminds me of that. So was that was like gas, like a gas explosion or something? So if I'm being reminded and seeing this big explosion in the sky, I would think it'd be somehow related to gas and the gas igniting. So it would have to be perhaps related to an airplane of some sort. Somewhere, I believe, over Europe. And I just keep seeing the same repetitive vision of just the explosion in the sky. Pretty wild. Now, I would imagine this has something to do with airplanes, because separately I see another vision here of an airplane taking off. Reminds me of what happened in India a little bit. Not quite, but it's taking off, but it's not taking off. It goes up, then goes back down. Not sure where this is. This could be actually in India again. And a problem on the runway in Tokyo, Japan. And I see all these cancellations at the Tokyo airport. I'm watching the screen and I see cancel. First they say delay. There's something happening at the airport in Japan that's causing cancellations of flights. I'm not seeing why. I'm not saying I hear a problem on the runway, but I don't see a problem. I think this may have something to do with planes not being able to take off due to something with the climate. Maybe volcanic related? Interesting that suddenly I just see like I'm at a concert and I'm watching Billy Joel play piano. But his energy looks really bad, not good. And I know I said something around Billy Joel recently. And I know that he had recent health problems. And let me get this necklace out of the way so it don't ring in my microphone. Sorry. So I don't know if this is like one last performance or something happens to him after the performance. It reminds me of Prince. And remember when Prince, did that performance at his, compound and then was gone the next day. Reminds me of that. And I know Billy Joel canceled his tour date because he was going to play with Stevie Nicks. I'm seeing a lot of chaos. Not that there's not already chaos in the Gaza Strip. I'm seeing so much more chaos breaking out. And then interesting, I see a vision of Netanyahu, but then I see like the no smoking, the red circle with the line going through it. So I see Netanyahu like with the red circle with the line going through it. Like no smoking, but I don't think it means no Netanyahu. Maybe it means something happening to him, which we talked about in the past as well. But it's interesting the way I see this in the Black Mirror. Him with that and chaos breaking out in Gaza. I feel like somebody else is getting involved. Somebody else is getting involved. Not liking recent decisions. Outsiders. And I'm getting this feeling And I'm seeing from the sky Israel, as if there's all this support beams, like supporting beams that are around Israel, supporting it, which I would imagine would be other countries and such. This is symbolic. But then I see some of them beams vanishing, just falling down, meaning that they're losing support. Losing support. Now I see this very, very extremely large explosion with a small mushroom-like cloud. And then I hear Russia didn't do it. Russia didn't do it. Which means they might be blamed for something in this big, large explosion. I'm in a distance. And I can feel it. I can feel like the energy of this hitting after it explodes from the distance. I mean, I remember talking about a tactical nuke being used in the past. And then I see spelled out very clearly in front of me, no nuclear war. But one will be used. A small one, tactical. Perhaps multiple. I'm in Egypt, in Cairo, around Cairo. And I see people coming out of the buildings into the streets. I see things, even the cars shaking back and forth. Sometimes I don't see structures, but I do see dust in the distance. A few small fires that ignite. I feel like this is likely somehow related to an earthquake. I'm along the shoreline. This very much reminds me of the New Jersey shore. And I see a large fire along the beach. I feel like it was set arson. But it reminds me, and for those that don't know the New Jersey shore, there's a lot of boardwalks and a lot of, where the people, big boardwalks, they're famous for their boardwalks. I'm sure there's some boardwalks in other places too. But I would imagine that this is a major boardwalk fire. Right along the water. It feels like kids set this fire. And I feel like they will likely be caught. I see this water levee. This kind of reminds me of what happened with Hurricane Katrina over in Louisiana. At first, I'm taking a second glance here, thinking that it's a dam, but actually it looks like more like a water levee. It's like holding the water back. If you recall, that's what happened during Hurricane Katrina that caused the flooding throughout Louisiana. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know who else may have water levees, but this water levee bursts and water flows into the city and into neighborhoods. I could be in Louisiana. It could be a repeat of Katrina. Or if anybody knows anything else about any water levees that could burst like that. It does feel more like America to me. I just see a lot of explosions. Something huge ignites and explodes in China. And I don't know, it feels like likely accidental, but it seems like something big. Releasing some kind of toxic smoke into the skies. I don't know if this is, some kind of plant, some kind of manufacturer. The explosion's huge. Burns part of the villages nearby down. I'm turning into October. Late October. A lot of tensions rise around this period. I don't know if October is when this thing happens in China. Now I see people being arrested. I see some man being guided out by what looks like FBI officials coming out of a building in a city like New York. A lot of press around watching this happen. Multiple arrests. I would think these would be high-profile people. I don't recognize who this man is. He's a little bit older, a little bit heavy. Not just a little heavier. Graying hair. He's got glasses. He doesn't look so surprised. I think this might be in New York. And I see spelled out lots of high-profile arrests. Feeling this could be likely October, November. One of these, or some of these, have something to do with banking, money, maybe money laundering. It'll be quite surprising. And to some, not so surprising. I don't know why, but Spirit is showing me Madonna, or the clone of Madonna. Because, man, that is not the same Madonna. Spirit agrees, it's not the same Madonna. Oh, there's like a possession there. Possession. You see her on stage and something feels like it goes wrong. Something happens with her. I don't know if it's an accident on the stage that sends her to the hospital or something health related that sends her to the hospital. I see a big ship. Kind of like a cruise ship. Well, yeah, it looks like a cruise ship, maybe a tour ship of some sort. And I see it being clipped by another boat, another ship. Like an accident. Well, obviously an accident. I don't know how they can't see the person ramming into this boat or ship. I don't know how they can't see it. It's plain as day, but I see them ramming in towards the back end of this ship, this cruise ship or tour ship. And even someone falls aboard from the jolt of the hit. Perhaps several. I could be somewhere in the Mediterranean. I'm seeing Rome, I'm seeing Italy. Then I'm also seeing large fires. Especially around Rome. And on the outside, it's like I see some of the monuments in Rome, and then in the background I see the red fire and flames and orange and black smoke pouring into the area of the city. Makes me feel like there's concerns around structures, historic structures, and the historic church that catches ablaze. It reminds me of Notre Dame, which I actually did predict in my past predictions before that big fire hit Notre Dame. Like, it reminds me of that. I'm not saying this is Notre Dame that I'm seeing, but I see a church ablaze. I don't know if this is connected to the same fires or if Spirit's just showing me fire-related things at this point. Spirit's showing me I'm seeing this really cool designed vehicle of some sort. Very strange, very space-age looking vehicle. And then I see a series of these vehicles. They feel very natural to me. They feel very good for the Earth and the planet. And then I see it cannot be blocked. It cannot be blocked. They don't feel like, electric vehicles. They feel like they're natural of some sort. Really neat space age again designs. I would imagine this may be a few years out. And then I keep seeing it cannot be blocked. So, they might try to stop it, but it cannot be blocked. I keep seeing the state of Georgia, I keep seeing peaches. And they have lots of peaches there in Georgia. And I just see this darkness that flows through Georgia. I'm going to take this as some type of serious storm system that sweeps through Georgia. Streets turn to rivers. I see the trees with peaches on them, so I would imagine this is in season, coming up perhaps in the very near future. But it feels like tornadoes go through parts of Georgia in unusual places. I see these very large protests. I think I'm in the United Kingdom, actually. This reminds me of what happened in the United States in 2020, or I think it was 2020, with the protests outside of police stations and government buildings. And it's like people were turning on the police or turning on the government. Well, they are so corrupt over there. They're now monitoring your news, everything. This looks pretty damaging. Like the people are rebelling not just against what's happening there, but they're rebelling against the structure itself. The police, the government. And then I see spelled out real big, your government doesn't care. And I see things being set ablaze. Again, it reminds me of 2020 in the United States, but this time in UK, United Kingdom. It's spreading out, even in France. I'm seeing President Trump. And I'm seeing him on a hospital gurney. Like he's being taken to a hospital. Except he lifts his head up. Gives his thumbs up. I feel like it's not quite time yet, but he's definitely got some stuff going on that's being hidden or suppressed, and they don't want us to know about, of course, just like Biden. But this will bring out the truth revolved around that. Then I see truth revealed real big. Not necessarily around the president, but around in general. Big truths, big reveals in October and into early November. I'm seeing this, a lot of activity in the sky. First, some appears like drones, kind of like exactly what happened in New Jersey and all over the place, but mainly New Jersey and Pennsylvania last year, which was in my predictions, but I'm seeing something similar. Except this time I'm seeing more clear, different shaped spacecraft triangles, which we know the triangles are the United States or the underground government. But I'm also seeing the round silver ships, very large ship. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, okay. I see beams of light going up. The color blue, like my shirt, well, a little blue or sky blue. I think that's more metaphorical. I think you all know what that is. It's a project. Don't believe everything that you're seeing. So that whole theory about the fake UFO invasion apparently is real. But I'm also pulled again to that period of November. I believe November this year would make sense to the energies that are coming in. I don't know if they're using these beams of light in November to fool us, or if this is two separate things, where Spirit's showing us, don't believe the things in the sky because they're being projected. But at the same time, I see drones and things, which would be, of course, real and not projected. January 2026 feels very significant as well when it comes to what's in the sky. I feel I need to tell you to follow your intuition. You'll know what's real and what's not real. Oh, interesting. Spirit says the right kind of glasses can help you determine. I'm thinking they're talking about, the sunglasses that have, what do you call it in it? I can't think of the name of it. I have a pair of them. They're usually expensive, but those kind. Polarized. That's the word. Thank you, Spirit. Polarized. I believe some of the sky stuff, well, it's happening everywhere. Big cities, over the UK. I see it over Chicago, even Philadelphia. And I can go on and on. It's going to be interesting. I also get that sense from Spirit to let you know that the real space people aren't going to be happy with this. And they already know. They're on top of everything. They're way more advanced than us, obviously, because they're here watching us. They're not going to be happy with this. And they're going to do some kind of intervention by probably showing us what's real and what's not real. And I feel like I'm this is really interesting, almost like the Oval Office, we'll say. And I see leaders meeting with different races of space people. Interesting. I hear the good guys. The good guys. And as crazy as this sounds like a Star Wars movie, I feel like this is something that will be televised in the future. Not necessarily near future, probably years out. But I'd say between now and 2020, 2030, may actually all be more significant in the year 2028. Or 2027. Interesting, Spirit shows me, and I believe this is a metaphor. I see a giant bear, like, rawr, And I see, like, an eagle. So this has got to be representing the United States and Russia. And I see this eagle swoop down and use these, like, silver claws to swoop across the back of the bear's neck. Basically because the bear didn't see it coming. Interesting metaphor of the way I'm seeing this in the mirror. And I totally take that as a metaphor for Russia and the United States striking them from behind their back when they're not expecting it. I see 4 really big claw marks across the bear's neck, and the bear's spinning around, angry, angry, angry. And then the eagle comes down, nose first, like it's going for prey, and hits the bear. Knocks the bear over, which is really interesting. I think it'd be really hard for an eagle to knock over a bear, but this bear falls over, gets back up dazed. The eagle takes off. Bear looks confused. Interesting. So again, we could take that United States is doing something, again, striking Russia from behind. 4 big lashes, could be 4 big, lashes to Russia. And then a big hit in the head that knocks them off their feet for a while. Makes them a little dazed and confused. And then I'm in Moscow and I see a big fire in Moscow, like something set ablaze. I don't know if this is their, one of their government buildings or what. It feels significant. And I see people in the streets watching and seeing this big fire ablaze. And then I hear Spirit say, Moscow, they need to guard their doors. Guard the doors, especially the doors where there are events, whether it's a church event, a music event, guard your doors. If there's some type of infiltration in Russia into one of these Moscow, churches or event, basically a fear attack of some sort. Like they had in the past, but this feels even more intense. Like multiple at the same time. Now, the month of December feels really potent as well. I don't know if this is in regards to Russia. But then I see the flags for Russia on one side, Ukraine on the other. And then I do see a white flag flying in between. Like a flag saying, retreat, but it's in between both of them, so I would take that as a sign that they're both retreating. And we can hold that in the light that maybe December, when it all comes to an end, that would be really nice. It is a 9-year numerology of endings, death of cycles. I said that in my 2025 forecast. So hopefully we do see something like that take place. It would be nice. Peace is coming, just not right away. I said this in the past, but now I'm actually seeing the visions. I said it in a recent video. Now I am recording this on the Lion's Gate Day, 8/8. It's August 8th. You're not going to be seeing this till a while after. I'm recording content before I go on my little sabbatical. But I did put out a video previous to this one with predictions where I saw what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing this attack on cell phone towers. I see one being set ablaze by a group of people. But then I see 3 men or 2 men and a woman. Looks like they're tying explosives to the bottom of the cell phone towers, blowing them up. Except the worst part about this is how one of these towers falls into a structure. And I see some of these people being arrested for what they're doing to these cell phone towers. I also see revelations, like a word revelations, and then I see the towers. And I see someone like literally taking part of the tower off and breaking it open. Revelations, revelations. It's not what you really think they are. Interesting. China, then I see China real big written. Do not trust China. Russia is really not the enemy, China is. Interesting. I see China, and I've seen this in the past, making moves around Taiwan. And then I see agreements will be made. Agreements will be made. So I don't feel like this is like a straight up, flat out conflict, although there will be exchange, military exchange. But I feel like agreements will be made. This could be before the latter part of this year of 2025 as well, between November and December. And then I get pulled to Greece. As I'm pulled to Greece, and I see some of the ancient historic statues and such, and in the background, I just see what looks to me like flowing red lava. And I'm sure there's volcanoes there, of course, around the Mediterranean. It's almost like this volcano, and the visual that I'm seeing with the volcano in the background and seeing Greece and how beautiful it is there. I would love to visit there. There's some kind of volcano in the background that erupts. That also causes planes to be grounded. And interesting enough, and I don't know, again, anything about this on a scientific level, but I'm pulled to the Mediterranean from like high above, and then I just see it vibrate in the middle. Vibrating, ripples and ripples and ripples. This has to be some type of earthquake that's happening beneath the Mediterranean, sending some type of waves, maybe tsunami waves, to different coastlines nearby. And Spirit tells me this happened before thousands of years ago. But this isn't like as bad as it was thousands of years ago, thankfully. But enough to cause concerns and issues, and even some boats or ships that are tipped over, washed away. This may not be until early 2026. I'm seeing these trials. The only thing I can look at this as is like sort of like the Nuremberg trials after World War II. So I'm seeing some type of trials like that. In a big room, like a Senate, Parliament. I can't see who the people are though. It's like they're fuzzed out. like I'm not allowed to know. Modern day Nuremberg trials. I feel like this could be a few years out. It feels like, again, kind of like Nuremberg, really big deal. And then Spirit tells me there are things happening that people would never imagine. Just like what was happening in, World War II and in Germany. That's the feeling Spirit gives me. Things are happening that people would be shocked to know. And that truth will be revealed. Hallelujah. First, I see Hillary Clinton. And I saw this vision in the past, but now I clearly see it in the mirror where she's giving confession. Or not confession, but, being made to speak out. But then I see written clearly, lies, lies, lies. And she literally looks, I gotta be honest, she looks possessed. She probably is, but she looks really literally possessed. And then I'm followed by seeing a funeral. I see a casket, flowers, lots of people. I'm thinking, and again, that this, from going from Hillary to a funeral, that this is a funeral revolved around the Clintons. Which I felt they are both in their 9 years, so it's very possible that within the next 6 months to a year that one of them could go, and I believe that'd be Bill. That would make sense to my vision of seeing 3 consecutive presidential funerals, and we did see Jimmy Carter. So there's 2 more to go. I'm going to say that people expect it to be Biden or his clone. But actually, it may be Bill first. At least what they tell us. I'm kind of pulled down towards Florida. I'm seeing this on the map around the Keys, Key West. And then, of course, I'm seeing the most southern tip of the United States, which is in Florida, Key West. And it's like literally, I think, 100 and some miles to Cuba. And I see darkness coming across the skies. This has to be hurricane related, of course. I feel like, again, being I'm standing at that most southern tip of Key West, Florida, where that little monument is. I've been there several times. I love Key West, Florida. I did when I was younger anyway. It is a party town. And the southern tip, I probably have pictures, real pictures, not on my phone, but actual real photos of this spot. So I would imagine if I'm standing here and I'm seeing these dark, dark clouds that feel somewhat sinister and nefarious to me. And if they feel sinister and nefarious to me, I would imagine that it's probably manipulated in some way or another, as we would expect many things are nowadays. I feel, again, Cuba's affected, but I feel like I need to run for shelter. This has to be a hurricane that's coming in and touching Cuba, but also coming across the Keys, Florida. It looks very, very intense, would be the word. I don't know why I'm seeing George Washington. Again, maybe symbolic. Something happening around a structure, a building, a bridge that's named after Washington. George Washington, like the George Washington Bridge or what have you. I don't know if there is a George. I'm sure there probably is, but man, something around George Washington that's so bizarre. And then when I see George Washington, I also think of the Revolution, the Revolutionary War, which makes me think that there is a revolution of sorts coming to the United States. But I feel like there's something happening to something named after Washington. And I'm not Washington State, but something with George Washington, something named after him. kind of being damaged or attacked in some way. I see some type of fires that this I imagine is the Swiss Alps. And I feel like there's movement and shifts in the Swiss Alps. So earthquakes, I would imagine. Come winter, major landslides or what do you call them? Avalanches. But Spirit pulls me greatly to the Swiss Alps and feel movement, shifts at the Swiss Alps, fire, and then winter feels really strange. Like, for example, getting so much record snow and then, record heat that melts it and causes avalanches. Very strange. I see this very interesting, what I only can describe as maybe being an art heist. I see these people loading up a van with different artwork and art pieces. I'd imagine I'd either be in France or Italy by the shape of the vehicles I see and huge art heist. I see a train, and this train's going down the tracks. And it literally looks to me as if the train tracks themselves are sabotaged moments before the train comes across those tracks, as if they separate somehow. The train kind of does this hop, but does this derailment and lands to the side. Looks pretty mountainous, a little maybe rural or remote. This does look like a passenger train of some sort. I feel like I could be somewhere in Europe by the scenery that I'm seeing, by the construct of the train. It almost looks like a tour train, or some kind of like fancier kind of older train. I see a map of the United States. I see in this map, I see Oklahoma, and I see a big red circle around Oklahoma City. Now, I did make predictions, and I don't recall exactly what they were about Oklahoma City in the past. But all I see is just a big red circle around Oklahoma City. Really interesting. Red, I would imagine, would be, like danger of some sort. I can't help but to think that this would be weather or climate related. I'm seeing Macron, leader of France. And he's coming out to a mob scene press conference. He looks very disappointed. People seem very disappointed in him. Announcements that he makes that causes ruckus, causes anger. I see a separate vision of Macron. He's signing something, but it looks like to me that this might be a resignation after whatever event or whatever he's trying to pull off backfires on him. I see a small plane, a very expensive jet actually would be more like it, a private jet. I feel like this jet is sabotaged from beneath, as if some type of device is stuck on the bottom of this plane, underneath the wing, where the gas goes. I feel somebody important going in on that plane. I feel like they could be Arabic perhaps, or definitely a darker tone to the skin. I don't recognize these gentlemen that are going on it, but they look important. I see their security guards standing around them. But I feel like it's one of their own security guards that pops this little device on the plane. And I don't think the plane gets very far in the air before it explodes. This is different than what I saw earlier with an explosion in the sky. Much different. I mean, I see the details of this. Guy's got gold around his neck. Big gold chain. A little heavier. One of the guys. There's four guys that look very important. Talking. Gets on the plane. One of the guys stays back as they step up the steps and get on the plane and the door closes. I see the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., which I've said in the past that this is a target. This is a target of the deep staters. And I just see smoke coming out of the top window of the Capitol building. I could take this that maybe there's fire in the Capitol, just like I saw fire at the White House. This could also be metaphoric, that something's going to be smoking at the Capitol. This could perhaps fall into October, maybe. I see a car wreck. One of these cars looks fancy and rich. This reminds me of what happened with the actor Paul Walker. So I'm going to say that there's some type of celebrity that's going to pass in a wreck. And if I'm thinking of Paul Walker, they were kind of racing or going at a high speed. So I see an accident involving celebrity. High-speed vehicle wreck. It also reminds me of James Dean. Interesting enough, James Dean comes to mind. Maybe we could even, if I'm thinking and seeing James Dean, that we might even hear some truth revolved around James Dean in the future. And again, I hear spirits say there's more to the story than people know. Usually is, isn't there, spirits? Usually is, usually is. I see Willie Nelson. I'm sitting there smoking. But then I see like darkness over his chest area. Something going on with Willie Nelson. It's not somebody I would ever even think of, to be quite honest with you, friends. But I see him clear as day. Sitting there with his guitar, actually. Like he might be resting in someone's home or outside on the patio or something. If I see darkness in his chest, and if I see blackness and darkness in the chest, that's usually related to like cancer or some type of disease that's going on there. Maybe even with the heart. Being as I see him smoking, I would think it's probably related to lungs and something that we're going to hear about Willie Nelson. Dolly Parton actually jumps in my mind too. What's with all the country? I'm a little bit country. I'm a little bit rock and roll. I'm a whole lot of rock and roll, actually. Dolly Parton, and then I see all these flowers being placed. So I'm not necessarily saying that Dolly Parton's passing away, but maybe something going on and she's in the hospital. People are leaving her flowers, perhaps. And this might even be in like Tennessee's Dolly World. Something going on around Dolly. Hello, Dolly. I keep seeing the symbol for CNN network. Kind of like I saw earlier, like the no smoking. I see the big red circle with the line going across over CNN. So I don't know if CNN is no CNN or there's a boycott against CNN. Maybe they're being banned from certain areas. I'm not sure. I know they have different media in different countries. A lot's happening around media. Speaking of media, I see some type of personal attack on a media place, like a TV where they film TV shows or where they film news. Some angry person goes in with a pow-pow. This perhaps could even happen when they're live on air. Not sure where I'm at. I don't know if I'm in the United States. If I'm in the United States, I may actually be in California. See the dollar, the American dollar, and I just see it on fire. Like somebody lit a dollar bill on fire. I would take that there's something burning cash burning. Excuse me. I don't know how to take that. A burning dollar bill. Let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. I see a bridge. I don't know if this is a bridge or an overpass that becomes engulfed in flames, and it feels like it's burning from underneath. So if it's a bridge that goes over water, I would think that perhaps there's a boat underneath that's burning that causes the bridge to burn. And it kind of reminds me of, and Spirit will show me things that'll remind me or point me to a different direction. Long time ago, this had to be at least 20 years ago, in Philadelphia, there was a tire fire underneath the overpass that burnt the whole overpass, overpass is still a bridge. Kind of reminds me of that, or makes me think of that. And in turn, that caused a shutdown of 95 in that area of 95 for a very long time. So if I'm thinking of all that, I would say that this bridge fire is going to cause, again, detours for a very long time. And I would think it would be something underneath the bridge or underneath the overpass that catches fire that causes the upper part to go out. I'm not sure where this is. But it does remind me more of a bridge that goes over water, actually. That's what it looks more to me. So I don't know what's burning underneath of it, but it's blazing. I get this sense I see, Putin and Trump coming together, which I know they're doing. And I'm recording this on the 8th. You're not seeing it for probably a week later. And Putin has this whole attitude, like he doesn't believe anything. He does not like the President of the United States. Doesn't believe or trust him. And then I see Zelensky in the background, kind of like he's pouting. Very, very disappointed or upset. So I'd imagine something's going to happen at this meeting. It's going to upset Zelensky. And I don't feel like it's all quite coming to a close yet. It will eventually, and I believe it will come to a close, hopefully by the end of this year. But I do feel like there's tensions, and I see the border of Poland. And I felt this in the past, but I see the border of Poland. You see a lot of military lining up on part of the border. I'm not sure what border they're on. Taking like a protective stance. I see a map again, and I see on the map Belarus. And I see it circled. And then I smell smoke and fire. So I'm going to say that Belarus is going to burn, or something in Belarus is going to burn. Spirit whispers in my ear, lots of darkness hides in there. Lots of darkness. They may even experience somewhat of a big earthquake shaker there. Well, friends, there we have it. I very, very much hope that you enjoyed this little session of scrying and utilizing this amazing black mirror. As I told you earlier, you can do this yourself with a bowl of water. You can do it with a dark bowl of water, black bowl of water, preferably obsidian, the way the ancestors did it. That's how they say Nostradamus used an obsidian bowl of water. You can look for black mirrors. I got this a very long time ago. It's like I lucked out. I don't think you can find these anymore. This is a pure, solid piece of black obsidian. You can use just a quartz ball. I'm an Australian lead ball, again, with a black pillow or a cloth behind it. But the key, and to really practice, once you become really good, you can use a ball like this. You can even use this crystal to gaze into. The black mirror is the key. And the whole key is letting your eyes go out of focus and just going with it. Now, for me, it was easy because for some reason I was seeing a light behind me. Maybe it was the candle. I don't know. No, it wasn't the candle. I don't see it now. But I focus on that. The eyes go out of focus, and that's perfect. That's how we do it. And I really hope you enjoyed. And if you did, please do hit that thumbs up love button. And a big thank you to all the supporters, whether you're a member of the YouTube platform below, whether you're a member of the Subscribe Star Awaken Your Spirit community and the contributors to this channel. I could do it without you. I'm so grateful. I thank you with infinite love and gratitude. And if you're new here, again, you want to continue to get accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, and you want to vibe with this awesome tribe that we are building, smash the subscribe, the bell, and all so that you get notifications. And remember, you can catch me every Tuesday for Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time, where we look at world events, how they may relate or to past predictions and prophecy, along with new predictions each and every week. You don't want to miss it. Tittle Tea Time. Wednesdays, depending on where you are on the planet Earth. So until the next time, friends, remember to celebrate life, celebrate you, because you deserve it. And more importantly, remember, as my sign says, be bold, be true, be kind, be you. Let your light shine ever so brightly, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste, and much love, friends. Much love.